have a sleepwalking problem. Every night, like clockwork, I climb into my stoic roommate's bed. I kiss him, hug him, and beg for cuddles. After I wake up, I pretend to be calm, but on the inside, I'm totally freaking out. To keep from getting beaten up, I started tying my wrists to the bedpost before I sleep. The next day, my stoic roommate, sporting dark circles under his eyes, stared menacingly at the red mark on my wrist and gritted his teeth. If you like ties so much, why not try using them somewhere else? His hot breath on the back of my ear was scorching, making my scalp tingle. I flinched and tried to pull my head back, only to find myself held tight in a strong embrace, unable to move. My hand drifted down and felt a patch of firm, smooth skin. My body still felt weak, but my brain was wide awake. I snapped my eyes open, and sure enough, I'd been sleepwalking again, and I'd climbed into my stoic roommate's bed again. The guy's hot, large hand was pressed firmly against my waist, its presence undeniable. Even through the fabric, I could feel the faint calluses on his fingertips. Harry was a jock. He had great habits, always playing ball, running, and working out. As a result, he was always warm, like a human furnace. For someone like me, who's always cold and gets sick all the time, he was fatally attractive. Thinking about it, I guess I can't blame myself for always sleepwalking into his bed. Because sleeping in his arms is, honestly, pretty damn amazing, especially in this kind of sub-zero weather. It's so warm. It's heavenly. The only downside is that with two big guys squeezed into a small bed, physical contact is inevitable. We're both red-blooded young men, and in the early morning, things are bound to happen. Feeling the situation behind me, my ears turned bright red. But Harry, oblivious, put his hand on my forehead. His lazy voice was thick with sleep, low and raspy. "Why's your face so red? You got a cold?" "No, it's just too hot." My face burning, I apologized like I'd done it 100 times before. "Sorry, Harry. I was sleepwalking again." The guy grunted, brushed my sweaty hair aside, and wiped the cold sweat from my forehead with his hand. His gaze was so intense it felt hot. I looked down, embarrassed, and fiddled with the blanket. Handsome, a total neat freak, and doesn't like to talk to people. That's how everyone else described Harry. I used to think so too. But now, I don't think those descriptions are very accurate. Beneath Harry's cold exterior is a gentle heart. Before, because of my timid personality, I never dared to get close to this untouchable campus hotshot who gave off a serious stay-away vibe. Even though we'd been in the same dorm for over half a year, we were basically just nodding acquaintances. That is, until half a month ago when my sleepwalking suddenly kicked in. I accidentally climbed into Harry's bed. This guy, rumored to be a hot-headed rich kid, not only didn't get angry but patiently and meticulously asked me what was going on. After learning I had hereditary sleepwalking, he started taking care of me in every way. I was overjoyed, basking in this hard-won warmth. Harry was afraid I'd catch a cold while sleepwalking, so he held me every night as we slept. In past years, the first few days of winter were always my peak sick season. But this time, I was warm and toasty every day. I haven't even had a single cold. In just half a month, my relationship with Harry shot up like a rocket ship, reaching its peak. We went from distant, ordinary roommates to best bros who could share the same bed. The speed was jaw-droppingly fast. I narrowed my eyes smugly, feeling pretty pleased with myself. Like a little puppy, Harry suddenly said, lightly pinching the back of my neck. The tingling sensation was surprisingly comfortable. Huh? I didn't get it at first. I lifted my sleepy head and leaned in to look at his face. Did I bite you again? The face that had won the genetic lottery loomed before my eyes. I cupped his chin and widened my eyes to get a better look. Sure enough, his normally pale, thin lips were now red and swollen. There were even a few small cuts below the corner of his mouth. On the surface, I was calm. On the inside, I was panicking. Oh God, does Harry think I'm some kind of pervert? The kind of pervert who sleepwalks, climbs into his roommate's bed, and starts kissing and biting him. My heart skipped a beat, and my face went pale. The sleepwalking is hereditary, I can't help it. But what the hell is this business of biting people in my sleep? And it's getting worse each time. Yesterday, I only dared to nibble on his chin. Today, I've moved on to his lips. Who knows where I'll bite tomorrow? I felt incredibly guilty but had no idea how to explain myself. I gingerly touched the swollen corner of his mouth. Does it hurt? I asked, trying to sound appeasing. Harry's eyes were downcast, his pupils dark. At nearly 6'3", he was half a head taller than me even sitting down, and his frame was a size bigger. When he stared down at me like this, the pressure was immense. He leaned in slightly, his hot breath brushing my cheek. A little. Why don't you blow on it for me? Huh? I dazedly pulled my hand back. My gaze fell directly into his dark, swirling eyes. Harry's eyes drooped, and his tone was a little pitiful. It's okay if you don't want to. I can just tough it out. It's fine, you don't have to feel bad. I don't blame you. That just made me feel even guiltier. It was already insane enough that I was sleepwalking into his bed in the middle of the night, and now I'd bitten his lip so badly it was red and swollen. He makes one small request, and I'm actually hesitating. God, I'm the worst. I bit my lip, conflicted for a moment, then looked up and said quietly, I'll blow on it. You leaned down. Inside the dim, curtained bed, I nervously fidgeted with my fingers, completely missing the flash of triumph and amusement in his eyes. Harry bent down and lowered his gaze, a smile playing at the corners of his eyes. His hot breath on my face tickled, and my ears flushed a deep red. Footsteps shuffled in the hallway outside. Wanting to get it over with quickly, I straightened up, half kneeling in front of him. Just as I was about to lean in and give a few quick puffs of air, he suddenly lifted his head. And just like that, our lips met. My brain short-circuited. I stared, wide-eyed in disbelief. I just kissed Harry. I just kissed a homophobic straight guy. Oh my God. Making a move on him in my sleep was one thing. But now I'm doing it while I'm awake. I've really outdone myself. Snapping back to reality, I froze and pulled back, blew a few sloppy puffs of air, and pushed Harry away with a trembling hand. There, it's done. I'm gonna get down now. My palms were covered in cold sweat. I wished a crack would open up in the floor and swallow me whole. I felt too guilty to look at him, my eyes darting everywhere. Just as I was about to throw off the covers and get out of bed, my wrist was suddenly grabbed. Harry's teasing voice came from above. What are you running for? It's not our first kiss. Why are you so shy? It was just an accident. You kiss way rougher when you're sleepwalking. You bit my lip raw, and I didn't say anything. As he spoke, he licked his lips with the tip of his tongue, hissing when he touched the cut. Hiss, William, you barely even blew on it. It still hurts. What are you going to do about it? The breath I had just let out caught in my throat again. My ears were burning. I stammered. I'm not running. I have some ointment in my drawer. It works really well. I'll go get it for you. All right then. Get the medicine and hurry back. I'll be waiting for you in bed. You can put it on for me later. My arm was your pillow all night, and it's still numb. I don't have the strength. Harry dangled his arm in front of me. The sleeve of his cotton pajama shirt was rolled up, revealing several distinct red marks. Paired with his drooping eyelids, he looked strangely pitiful, like the little stray dog downstairs that rubs against people's legs, begging for attention. The image suddenly made me want to laugh. As if possessed, I nodded. I had bought the ointment at the campus clinic last night, intending to put it on Harry's chin, but when I got back, I saw the cut had already scabbed over, so I set it aside. I never thought it would come in handy today. I was both relieved and incredibly frustrated. When the hell is this random biting habit going to stop? Just as I was wondering if I should book a doctor's appointment, there was a loud knock on the door. Harry, William, you guys awake? It was our roommate, Mike. He and our other roommate had pulled an all-nighter gaming and must have just gotten back. Closing the drawer, I slipped the ointment into my pocket, looked up at Harry leaning against the side of the top bunk, and gestured for him to come down. Then I whispered, I'll put it on for you later. If Mike and the guys see us doing it on the bed, they'll get the wrong idea. Harry glared down at me, his face instantly clouding over. But the knocking continued, and my phone was vibrating like crazy in my pocket. I had no choice but to call out, "We're awake. Coming." As I spoke, I quickly reached out and patted his exposed side, like stroking a cat, trying to soothe him. Seeing his expression soften a bit, I went to open the door. Mike and Hank both looked exhausted. They waved the bags in their hands and shivered. "It's freezing out there. We brought you and Harry breakfast. Eat it while it's hot." "Hey, thanks, Mike." "No problem." As the door opened, a blast of cold air hit my face. Couldn't help but sneeze. I rubbed my nose and took the bag from Mike. The next second, a heavy jacket was draped over my shoulders. I turned around, confused, and met Harry's still gloomy face. He pouted. "Put it on. Don't want you getting sick. You're so delicate." "Yeah, William, your immune system is terrible." Mike chimed in with a laugh as he came in and closed the door. A warmth spread through my chest. I mumbled a few words in reply, put the breakfast on the table, and pulled Harry towards the bathroom, saying urgently, Our 8 a.m. is starting soon. Let's hurry up and get ready." Hearing me, Mike called from behind, "William, can you tell the Professor Hank and I won't be there? We're dead tired from gaming all night." "Sure." After replying, I closed the bathroom door, took the ointment out of my pocket, squeezed a little onto my fingertip to warm it up, and winked at the guy standing frozen in the doorway. "What are you standing there like an idiot for? Don't you want me to put this on?" At my words, Harry's eyes instantly lit up. He obediently came over like a big dog and lowered his head. Because of our size difference, my entire body was cast in his shadow. He stood extremely close, staring at me without blinking. The sensation of his skin under my fingertips was strangely soft. His stare was making my scalp tingle. Just as I was about to say something, Harry suddenly spoke. "William, doesn't this feel like we're having a secret affair?" "Huh?" My brain stalled for a second. I was completely baffled. Wait, what kind of crazy thing is he saying? And is that really something a straight guy should be thinking? The bathroom wasn't soundproof. I could clearly hear Mike and Hank outside discussing their game. Harry was standing right in front of me, leaning on the sink behind me with his arms, basically trapping me in his embrace. The proximity, where any slight movement would cause us to touch, and the hot breath he exhaled created an intensely ambiguous illusion. The nervousness of being caught and the thrill of doing something forbidden were at an all-time high. In this situation, it's no wonder Harry's mind would wander. Realizing this, I breathed a sigh of relief and joked, "What are you talking about? Can't best bros help each other put on ointment?" Harry raised an eyebrow. "I'm not talking nonsense. If we're such good bros, why'd you pull me into the bathroom? Couldn't we have done it outside?" My hand paused. Afraid he'd see through me, I quickly changed the subject. I swallowed nervously and forced a laugh. "Well, the light in the bathroom is brighter. Good lighting, so I can see the cut better to put the medicine on. Is that so?" Harry looked at me skeptically, trying to find a crack in my story, but I'm a master actor. "Hey, why would I lie to you? It's all done. Now, let's hurry up and get ready. We're going to be late for class, and our professor is super strict." With that, I quickly slipped out from under his arm, turned my back to him, stuck a toothbrush in my mouth, and pretended to brush my teeth, not daring to meet his gaze again. The back of my shirt was nearly soaked with cold sweat. Under the cover of the running water, I let out a long breath. Guilty. I felt so damn guilty. The university gym and the law school building were on opposite ends of the campus, north and south. It was a trek across most of the school grounds. So, after leaving the dorm, Harry and I went our separate ways. Mike and Hank didn't come to class, so I picked a seat in the back corner and zoned out. As I sat there picking at my fingers, lost in thought, a very pretty girl in the row ahead of me suddenly turned around and called my name with a smile. "William, you're roommates with Harry, right?" Snapping out of it, I nodded sullenly and mumbled a yes. The girl's eyes curved into crescents. "Then you guys must be pretty close, right? I see you have a lot of the same stuff like clothes, hats, scarves, and things. Hey, that scarf you're wearing. I saw Harry wear one just like it last time. Same style but a different color. And I think I've seen him wear that hat too." Following her gaze, I looked down at the thick scarf around my neck and suddenly realized how hot it was. The classroom heating was making my cheeks burn. This scarf and the hat on my head were both things Harry had insisted I take. He said he'd bought the wrong ones and didn't like such bright colors, so he was giving them to me for cheap. I didn't think much of it at the time. I needed them anyway, so I accepted. Later, he ordered the same items in different colors. When Mike and Hank found out, they teased us about secretly wearing matching couple stuff and being sneaky. Taking off the scarf, I could breathe much better. I smiled. We're all right. Harry's a really good guy. The girl suddenly gave a shy smile, pulled a pink envelope out of her bag. It was scented, probably with rose perfume. It was obviously a love letter. I was suddenly flustered. Oh God. She can't possibly like me and be about to confess. Can she? Just as my brain was rapidly calculating the most polite way to reject her, the girl suddenly handed the envelope to me and said shyly, "So, can you help me give this to Harry?" I was speechless. Wait, why isn't she following the script? I was incredibly embarrassed but also relieved. I quickly said, "Sorry, Harry doesn't let me accept things for him." That was true, I wasn't just brushing her off. Just a few days into the semester, Harry had captured countless hearts with his good looks, but his personality was reserved and cold, and his rejections were blunt and merciless. So the other roommates and I became the girl's new targets. One day after military training, a girl cornered me downstairs from the dorm, shoved a box of chocolates into my hands, told me to give them to Harry, and then ran off. When I cluelessly handed the chocolates to Harry, he looked down at the gift, and although he didn't say anything, his face was terrifyingly dark. That night, he treated the whole dorm to dinner and told us that if any girls asked for his contact info or gave us gifts for him, we should just refuse. He said he wasn't interested in dating and found it annoying. After he finished, he gave me a very pointed look. Mike and the others loyally agreed. I was so embarrassed I wanted the ground to swallow me whole. I didn't dare look at him again, just hung my head and took a sip of my drink. The next day, I saw the box of chocolates in the trash can. If I helped pass this love letter to him, it would probably meet the same fate. No, maybe even worse. The girl let out a disappointed "oh. I see. Well, I'll just give it to him myself some other time." With that, she sat up straight again. I looked at her back, guiltily pursing my lips. Actually, there was another important reason I hadn't mentioned. I liked Harry too. In a way that made us rivals. Out of selfishness, I didn't want to help her. That's right. Not only do I sleepwalk into his bed, but I'm also secretly crushing on him. Every morning, I put on a show of surprise and apology. But deep down, I'm loving every second of it. But the sleep biting and sleep kissing were completely unexpected. Maybe I'm just a pervert at heart. The frequent bed climbing and shenanigans these past few days had me on edge. I was afraid Harry would figure out my feelings and beat the crap out of me one day. Since I had a light class schedule today, I decided to treat him to a meal. Partly to thank him for taking care of me and partly, in case I ever lost my mind while sleepwalking and did something truly shameless to him, I hoped he'd go a little easy on me when he beat me up. With that in mind, I sent Harry a text. A moment later, my phone started buzzing. I realized I had accidentally sent the message to our dorm group chat. Seeing that I was offering to buy dinner, Mike and Hank clamored to come along. I readily agreed. The more, the merrier. Harry sent me a private message, telling me to go wait for him at the indoor gym first, and we'd head to the restaurant together later. I replied with a nodding puppy sticker, grabbed my backpack, and headed out, feeling cheerful the whole way. As soon as I got near the gym, I was stunned by the roar of the crowd. I had to ask a passerby to find out there was a basketball game today. The small indoor court was packed with girls, all screaming Harry's name. The enthusiasm was on par with a pop star's concert. Good Lord, I knew Harry was popular, but I didn't know he was this popular. The competition is fierce, and I don't even have the gender advantage. The thought made me feel a bit dejected and deflated. I managed to find a spot in a corner and watched the guys on the court, who were dripping with testosterone. My eyes were quickly drawn to the broad-shouldered, long-legged Harry. He must have been sweating from playing, because after a cool dunk, The hem of his shirt rode up to his waist. His well-defined abs instantly captured the entire crowd's attention. The screams grew louder and louder. Damn, Harry's abs are insane. I want to lick the sweat off them for him. Hey, do you guys know what type of girl he likes? Do you think I have a chance if I go for him? Who knows? I've never seen him date anyone. He's so clean-cut. He probably likes one of those stunning, glamorous types. God, with a chest like that, you wouldn't even need to buy a fridge. Whatever. I'm going to confess to him after this is over. Wish me luck, girls. Just as I was eavesdropping on the girls' confession plans, Harry suddenly looked over in my direction. The moment our eyes met, I somehow felt that he was in a great mood. Seeing him pause, I quickly gave him a thumbs up and a bright smile. Harry froze for 2 seconds but quickly got back in the game. He played the rest of the match fiercely and aggressively, as if he were deliberately showing off, like a peacock spreading its feathers. With this intense style of play, the game ended quickly. Harry said a quick word to his teammates and strode over, looking at the half-empty water bottle in my hand with surprise. His voice was still a bit breathless. "You bought this for me?" His eyes were sparkling, just like a puppy begging for a treat. As much as I wanted to nod, this was clearly a half-drunk bottle of water. It didn't look like I'd bought it specially for him. I had to wave my hands in embarrassment. "No, this is mine. I didn't know you had a game today, so I didn't bring you anything. Do you want some water now? I can go buy you a new bottle from the vending machine outside." "No need. I'll just drink yours." Harry snatched the bottle from my hand with lightning speed, casually twisted the cap open, and, with his throat still glistening with a thin layer of sweat, chugged the rest of the water. After he finished, he even smiled and commented, "A little sweet." When the usually cold and quiet guy smiled, it really was overwhelmingly sweet. I stood there, stunned for a moment. Then a sudden female voice pulled me back to my senses. "Harry, are you free tonight? Can I ask you to have dinner with me? I have something I want to tell you." It was the girl from earlier who said she was going to confess to Harry. She spoke in a gentle, soft voice. The look in her eyes as she gazed at him was filled with undisguised, shy affection. Harry frowned and was about to refuse, but I beat him to it. "Sorry, he already has plans with me tonight. He doesn't have time to accept anyone else's invitation." The girl turned to me in surprise, as if just noticing the glaring third while standing next to them, and gave me a serious look. Then she turned her gaze back to Harry, looking at him for confirmation. Seeing this, I suddenly regretted my big mouth. I could have just said it was a dorm dinner, but no, I had to get jealous and make it sound so ambiguous. "Crap. Did she figure me out, Harry?" the girl asked again. Quickly composing myself, I tugged on the guy's shirt next to me and said in a buddy-buddy tone, "Bro, you gonna say something?" Harry seemed to snap out of a daze. He paused, then slung an arm around my shoulder and smiled. "I do have plans. And even if I didn't, I wouldn't have dinner with a stranger." By the time he had showered, changed, and we were on our way to meet Mike and Hank, he was still smiling. I was baffled. Weren't we just going out for a meal? Why was he so happy about it? But deep down, I was secretly thrilled. It seemed like treating him to meals more often was a shortcut to making him happy. We randomly picked a barbecue place, and the 4 of us ordered a ton of food. When guys eat, there's bound to be some drinking. But looking at the you-who on the menu, I couldn't help but ask, "Who's this for? Who's such a lightweight?" "You." Harry suddenly looked up at me, his eyes full of playful resentment. Mike and Hank were laughing so hard they couldn't stand up straight, slapping each other's shoulders and cackling. "William, you're a one-drink wonder, don't you remember?" "Huh?" I looked at him, confused. I'd almost never drunk at dorm gatherings before because I was always sick and weak. How did he know I couldn't hold my liquor? Mike, after he'd had his laugh, finally explained, "The last time Harry treated us to dinner, you had 1 drink and went wild." "You really don't remember? Harry treated us to dinner? The time with the chocolates?" "Yeah, that time. You got drunk and kept clinging to Harry, apologizing, smearing snot and tears all over him. You wouldn't let go no matter what. In the end, you insisted that Harry carry you back to the dorm. Otherwise, you wouldn't leave." The more I heard, the redder my ears got. By the end, before I'd even had a drink, my face was as red as a baboon's ass. I wished a crack would open up in the ground and swallow me whole. Damn it. No wonder Harry had been looking at me weirdly after that night, always frowning at me like he wanted to say something but couldn't. I thought it was because of the gift thing that he disapproved and was looking for trouble with me. I even secretly complained about how petty he was. Mike and Hank laughed even louder, completely unrestrained. Turns out, blacking out from drinking isn't the embarrassing part. Having friends help you recall the details afterward is the most embarrassing thing of all. I cleared my throat guiltily, only to turn and meet a pair of dark eyes. The victim was looking at me with a teasing expression, a smile playing at the corners of his eyes. It suddenly made me very curious about how that night ended. So, I shamelessly leaned in and asked, "So, Harry, did you end up carrying me back to the dorm?" He raised an eyebrow, as if he hadn't expected me to ask. He opened a can of Yoo-hoo, pushed it in front of me, and said in a lazy tone, "You want to know?" I nodded eagerly. Back then, our relationship was still very casual. Based on what I knew of him, he probably would have just left me at the restaurant. But I couldn't help but wonder, what if? Harry took a sip of his beer, then suddenly ruffled my hair and said with a mischievous grin, "I'm not telling you. You can guess." Hearing that, I resentfully protected my head and shot him a glare, not telling me but still messing up my hair, making it all static. He definitely left me at the restaurant. That's why he feels guilty and won't say. Drinking, chatting, and gossiping, time flew by. I just didn't expect that Harry, who looked like he could drink a ton, was actually a 3-drink lightweight. After just a few sips, he couldn't hold himself up and kept leaning towards me. He almost fell over several times, but I managed to catch him just in time. Seeing how drunk he was, we didn't stay out too late. Mike and Hank had a last-minute club activity. They said they were going to pull an all-nighter gaming and wouldn't be back at the dorm. Before they left, they specifically told me to take good care of Harry. They winked and said, "Harry had a tough time taking care of you last time. You have no idea." They went on and on about how great Harry was, until I pretended to be annoyed and shooed them away. I seriously suspect those two know something. Otherwise, why are they never in the dorm at night? Luckily, the restaurant wasn't far from school, and Harry was relatively well behaved when he was drunk. So I just supported him and slowly walked back to the dorm. As soon as we left the barbecue place, the cold street air hit us. Harry shivered from the cold and, being drunk and clingy, burrowed into my arms, completely ignoring the strange looks from people on the street. But a drunk person can't really be bothered with that. The thought made my heart race, and I felt a strange, illicit thrill, like we were having a secret affair. It seemed like only in these moments could I get close to him without any reservations, without worrying that he'd discover the dirty thoughts hidden in my heart. But it wasn't long before I couldn't stand it anymore. I pushed his head off my shoulder, where it had been nuzzling, and asked, "Harry, are you trying to give me a hickey or something?" The drunk guy was slow to react. He tilted his head, his eyes sparkling. I don't want a hickey." I lowered my voice, coaxing him in a not-so-gentle tone. "Then be good and stop sucking on my neck. You're drooling all over my chest." It was hot and itchy, and the sticky feeling was really uncomfortable. But the culprit just grinned foolishly, reaching out to pull at my clothes, insisting he wanted to help me wipe it clean. Great. Arguing with a drunk is a total waste of time. Every place he touched felt like an electric shock, tingling and numb. The short walk took us a full half-hour to get back to the dorm. After getting Harry settled, I took a quick shower and made him a cup of honey water. When I came back, I found him slumped in a chair, his eyes closed. He seemed to have passed out. "Harry?" I crouched in front of him and called his name softly, but the person in the chair didn't react at all. "Harry, can you hear me?" I raised my voice, but still no response. I sighed, debating how to get him onto the bed. A large hand suddenly came down on the back of my head and pushed forward abruptly. And then, I lost my balance and fell forward. The sensation on my lips was incredibly soft. Before my eyes were Harry's slightly curled, trembling eyelashes. I was half kneeling on the floor, my brain momentarily deprived of oxygen. However, this daze was quickly replaced by a different kind of pleasure. I was passive, yet somehow enjoying it, giving in completely until my tongue was sore and numb. By the time I came to my senses, Harry had already retreated to a safe distance. His lips were shiny and rosy, and his eyes were hazy as he looked at me, looking devastatingly handsome. His mouth moved, as if he were whispering something. As if possessed, I leaned in to listen, but my earlobe was suddenly caught between his teeth. He bit down on the soft flesh and ground it repeatedly. When he'd had enough and let go, he panted softly in my ear, "William." My heart suddenly hammered against my ribs, so fast it made me dizzy. It was as if the whole world had suddenly gone silent, and all I could hear was the chaotic thumping in my own chest and the raspy whisper in my ear. I knelt there, stunned, unable to react for a long time. The dopamine rush from kissing Harry was nothing compared to the thrill of him saying my name right now. I even had the illusion that maybe he liked me too. When my thoughts finally returned, I realized he had already passed out. Damn it. No, wait. I was completely dumbfounded. What the hell? Is this dog playing with me? He doesn't say a word, kisses me, and then passes out? Is that something a human being does? I was so angry I kicked him a couple of times. After calming down, I grunted and heaved him onto the bed, covered him with a blanket, and was left panting from exhaustion. Lying in my own bed, my head was still spinning. Is Harry really straight? Would a straight guy call out his roommate's name after a kiss? But when that senior from the art school confessed to him, he clearly said he was disgusted by gay people and would never fall for a guy built like him. The disgust on his face back then was so obvious. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been so timid, never daring to reveal my own feelings. So what did he mean by calling my name just now? He couldn't have suddenly turned gay, could he? Whatever. My thoughts were a mess. I couldn't sort them out. Frustrated, I buried my head in my pillow, just hoping that Harry wouldn't black out from the drinking and would still remember his hooliganism tonight when he woke up. Otherwise, I'd really be suffering in silence. I'd have no one to tell my grievances to. Probably because I had things on my mind, I surprisingly didn't sleepwalk that night. When I woke up in my own bed the next morning, I still felt a bit dazed. But I didn't expect that my worries from last night would come true. Because Harry, he didn't remember a single thing. He woke up and shamelessly asked me why I hadn't sleepwalked last night. He even pouted and asked me to put ointment on his lip, whining that it hurt. Ointment? I'll put ointment on his goddamn foot. He's nuts. That mouth of his is terrifying. It even force kisses people. And the key thing is, he doesn't remember it when he wakes up. I wouldn't dare put anything on it. I went through a day of classes filled with resentment. The more I looked at him, the more annoyed I got. Several times, I wanted to go up and punch him, but whenever he looked at me with those blinking eyes, the violent thought was doused with a bucket of cold water. That night, I tied my wrists to the bedpost with a necktie. Before sleeping, I swore to myself that if I climbed into his bed again, I was a dog. Damn it, I had to break this stupid habit, no matter what. The bed was freezing. I shivered, too cold to sleep. It wasn't until the middle of the night that I finally managed to doze off, curled up in a corner. The next day, I woke up with a cold, my head groggy. More importantly, my arm, which had been tied up all night, was numb, sore, swollen, and painful. I couldn't lift it at all. Harry hadn't slept well either. He had dark circles under his eyes and asked me with a resentful look why I hadn't sleepwalked again. Maybe my sleepwalking is getting better. I rubbed my still fuzzy head and answered listlessly, "Besides, aren't you straight? Don't you feel gross sleeping in the same bed with me every day?" When I didn't hear a reply for a while, I realized what I had just said. The question that had been buried in my heart for so long, I just asked it out loud? Crap, I must really have a cold. My brain isn't working right. The words were already out. I couldn't take them back. I decided to just throw caution to the wind and look up at him, planning to get a straight answer. When I looked up, I found him staring at my arm, his dark eyes icy, without a trace of warmth. Harry's tone was bone-chillingly cold. William, what happened to your wrist? I froze and followed his gaze down. Only then did I notice the ligature mark on my wrist was showing. The dark red mark was stark against my fair skin. I must have pulled my sleeve up when I was rubbing my temples. My head hurt so much I didn't notice. It's nothing. I just accidentally bumped it on the railing. I quickly pulled down my sweatshirt sleeve, trying to cover it. But Harry grabbed my shoulder and pushed me down into the chair, gritting his teeth. William, do you really not want to sleep with me that much? Do you really want to sleep with me that much? I struggled a few times but couldn't break free. I gave up and used the opportunity to ask back. Harry, sometimes I really don't get you. No straight guy sleeps in the same bed with his roommate every day. Who the fuck is straight? The whole dorm can see that I like you, and you're still here going on about straight. Harry's eyes were red and raw, and the veins in his neck bulged with anger. William, don't tell me you didn't feel a single thing? The string of indignant words hit me like a ton of bricks, leaving my head spinning. Wait, what does he mean I didn't feel a single thing? He said himself that he was straight and disgusted by gay people. How was I supposed to feel anything? I was so angry my head was buzzing. I struggled free and slapped him across the face. I don't know if it hurt him, but it really hurt me. In my agitation, I'd used the wrong hand, the one that was swollen like a pig's trotter. It hurt so much I wanted to scream, but I forced myself to hold it in. Are you fucking crazy, Harry? You like me, but you don't tell me, leaving me guessing all day, terrified you'll find out about my feelings for you. And now you tell me you like me too? You're really fucking crazy. Crying when I get upset is a flaw etched into my DNA. I'll never be able to change it. By the end, I could feel my eyes stinging. The guy who had been on the verge of exploding suddenly deflated. He awkwardly wiped at my reddening eyes. Why are you crying? You're like a little kid. It's my fault. Okay? I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to hide it from you. But William, being straight for almost 20 years and then suddenly realizing you're gay, that takes some time to process. You have to let me take a breather, to think carefully about whether this is just a novelty, a passing phase, or if I've really found the one for the rest of my life. He paused, then hesitated before continuing. I was actually planning to confess to you a few days ago, but you reacted so strongly that night, I thought I scared you. So I didn't dare say anything. I figured I'd wait a few more days for you to get used to it. I never thought I'd push you to this point. This completely open-hearted confession caught me off guard. As I fumbled for a reaction, my heart felt like it was submerged in a bottle of soda, with bubbles continuously fizzing to the surface. For a moment, I felt like a popped balloon. All my anxiety just disintegrated with a pop. Only one thought remained. So, he likes me too. Seeing my eyes were still red, Harry gently stroked the mark on my wrist and gave a wry smile. I can't sleep without you at night. Can you take pity on me and not tie yourself up tonight? It was the first time I'd ever heard him speak in such a pleading tone. My heart instantly went wild, and my blood rushed, heating my face and ears. A little pitiful, so unlike him. Thinking this, I dazedly nodded my head. I saw Harry's eyes instantly light up. He smiled and kissed my wrist, his grin full of cunning. You said you were afraid I'd find out about your little feelings for me. William, what are your feelings for me? Damn it, you've already figured it out. Why are you still asking me? My ears turned red. He really was a big bad wolf, always pretending to be pitiful to trick people. I want to hear you say it. He leaned down and touched my lips, his eyes sparkling. It was too unfair. Embarrassed, I buried my head in my sweatshirt. I like you. What? I didn't hear you. Who do you like? Harry was doing it on purpose. I decided to just throw caution to the wind and yelled at the top of my lungs. I like you. I like you. Okay? Okay. I accept your confession, boyfriend. Crap. How can he be so shameless? I stared, dumbfounded. He was the one who confessed first. How did it turn into him accepting my confession? While I was still stunned, Harry kissed my face a few more times, grinding his lips forcefully against my earlobe. Since you like playing with ties so much, bring that stupid tie of yours over tonight. We'll try it somewhere else. I don't like playing with them. I do, Harry said, gritting his teeth one word at a time. I suddenly had a bad feeling about tonight. I wanted to run. Harry's annoying school diary. Day 1 of orientation. This damn school forces us to live on campus. Got 2 noisy roommates, and 1 quiet little turtle who doesn't talk. Orientation is so hot. The sun is huge. Somebody shoot it down. So annoying. The 2 roommates talk so much, chirping and chattering. Feels like I'm raising a room full of magpies. The little turtle is better. Says little looks cute. Day 3 of orientation. Too hot to eat. The little turtle gave me a specialty from his hometown. A box of pastries. His voice is as quiet as a mosquito, all mumbles and hums. So his name is William. It suits him. The pastries are sweet and soft. Pretty good. The 2 roommates aren't so noisy anymore. Living on campus is okay, I guess. Day 7 of orientation. William gave me a box of chocolates. Ugh. Who likes this bitter crap? Whatever, I'll take it. He's so timid he might cry in secret if I don't. What the hell is wrong with him? Who told him he could accept stuff for me? He's nuts. A 1-drink wonder and so clingy. He practically crawled into my lap. Fine, I accept your apology. Just stop being so damn cute. Day 10. I'm this handsome, it's normal for a guy to like me. But can you fucking not be like a creep every day? Looking at me like you haven't eaten in 800 years? And you fucking snuck into the dorm to steal my clothes. No wonder he's an art major. He looks pretty abstract himself. Like one of those monkeys jumping around on a mountain. Couldn't help it. Beat him up. Gay people don't fucking disgust me. Day 20. William seems to be avoiding me. He's not talking to me. He was so clingy that night. Why is he only talking to the other roommates and ignoring me? He's nuts. Something's definitely wrong with his eyes. I'm this handsome, way better than those 2 magpies. Whatever. I'll forgive him. After all, there aren't many people as perfect as me. Day 40. So annoying. I want to destroy the world. William said I'm too wasteful, that my clothes are all single use. Day 45. The washing machine in the dorm sounds like a tractor. Damn it, who the hell invented laundry? God damn it, I'm gonna kill him. Shouldn't all clothes just be designed to be disposable? Day 50. William insisted on teaching me how to do laundry. Couldn't argue with him. Fine, I'll try to learn. Laundry is so simple. Who doesn't know how to do it? Day 80. Someone on the sports team asked me about William. Said he's pretty good looking with long, fair legs. I nodded in agreement, then secretly made his life hell. What a freak. What's he doing staring at other people's legs? Day 85. Damn it, now I've got it bad too. It's all that guy's fault. Why'd he have to mention legs? Now I can't stop sneaking glances at William's legs these past 2 days. So creepy. Day 90. Fuck. Why doesn't he close the door when he showers? What if someone else sees? But William is really fair-skinned. Not just his legs. Day 100. That guy from the sports team is a fucking creep. He asked me today if William has a boyfriend. Said he wants to pursue him, and asked me to help find out if he likes jocks. Is he nuts? Does he piss glitter? When you're looking for a partner, you can't just look at their qualifications. You should also look at your own. Day 120. Woke up in a daze. Someone was making noise. Saw William lying next to me. Thought I was dreaming. His lips are so soft and plump. They look really kissable. Kissed him and found out, yeah, they are. Day 121. Not a dream. William was sleepwalking, but he was so oblivious, putting his hand right on my forehead. Whatever, too lazy to call him out on it. Day 130. Why isn't it dark yet? Why isn't William here yet? Tossing and turning, scratching my head, tossing and turning. It's definitely not because I miss him and can't sleep. Just insomnia. Day 140. Damn it. Kissed him too hard. My lip is cut. If I say the little turtle kissed me, will he believe me? Whatever. Doesn't matter. I'll just blame him first. Day 142. Diagnosed gay. I like William. A lot. Day 145. Faking drunk to suck on my guy's neck. Slurp, slurp, slurp. Damn. I'm already pretending to be asleep, and he still won't kiss me. Fine. Such high self-control. He's my guy after all. Hee. Faked being drunk and got to kiss him. Even used my tongue. Not hee. I scared him silly. Guess I'll have to pretend I blacked out. Day 150. My guy is into bondage play.